Hi there, Richard Dick Coughlin, 666. How are you? I wanted to talk about something that I was planning on talking about at the time, but I never really got round to it. It's a little bit dated, but I think it's still something I would like to put across, because I think it's still an important issue. And it's this advert that was played in the halftime of the Super Bowl. It's known as the Tebow advert. Now, if you haven't seen the advert, I'll put a link to it over there in the sidebar. You can go look at it yourself. The first thing that I have to say about this advert is it's incredibly nonsensical. If I didn't know, I knew prior that it was a fucking pro-life ad. And if I hadn't have known that, I'd have watched it and gone, what the name of Satan's balls was that about? It made no sense to me whatsoever. The full story is, this woman went to the Philippines and got pregnant. How, we don't know. And apparently, according to her, she went to several doctors, and the doctors encouraged her to have an abortion. They said that this woman, it's probably a good idea to have an abortion, and they tried to sort of encourage her to have an abortion. She chose not to. And this son of hers that she eventually had grew up to be Tim Tebow, who apparently is some sort of successful athlete of some description. First of all, this is a nonsensical argument. This is just so ludicrous, because the idea that you're trying to encourage people to have kids and to not have an abortion on the chance that their kid, hey, your kid could grow up to be... How shallow is that? How fucking devoid of any sense of conscience is that? It's like, this is the level that sometimes pro-life people are resorting to, because they don't understand. If you had some machine that could predict what your child would be if you had it, it probably wouldn't make much fucking difference. Your child will grow up to be president of the world. They'd probably... I don't care. You know, what happens to me? It's a selfish decision. No one ever said it wasn't. But that's not the point. I'm sure there are lots of tramps who live in the world who could have been aborted. It's along with that line of that argument of people who have abortions and then regret them. That's an argument for pro-life. How about this? I'm going to put forward... And this case, for being pro-choice, is everyone who's ever committed suicide. What is so insane about that argument in comparison to the argument that some people have abortions and regret them? Yeah, and a lot of people don't. Do you know what? Some people are born and fucking wish they hadn't been. There are some inconsistencies, though, with this woman's argument. Specifically, the problem with her argument is the fact that she says that these doctors encourage her to have an abortion. There's a problem with that in the Philippines, abortion is illegal. So it's kind of unlikely that that's the case. But we'll grant her that, just to say, because you never know. It could be the case. What people in the pro-life side don't realise is that is not a pro-life argument. That is a pro-choice argument. Because she was encouraged to have an abortion, but she chose not to. That's what pro-choice is about. But see, the thing is, the idea of being pro-choice in this issue has been completely destroyed by the people on by the Christian right-wing conservative militant pro-life crowd. They've created this concept called pro-abortion. Now, I suppose in a context you could say that I'm pro-abortion in terms of that I'm all for people having them if they wish. But the problem is, what they create is this false idea that when you're pro-abortion, what you actually want is every baby to be aborted. That's what you want. I mean, I want everyone who gets pregnant to have an abortion. Just get rid of them all. Which is obviously ludicrous. Nobody is advocating that. So they destroy the concept of pro-choice, and they turn it into pro-abortion. What these people don't realise, pro-choice means you can choose not to have one. I don't think anyone should be forced to not have an abortion, but I also don't think it's right to force people to have them. I think it should be your choice. You can do whatever you feel is right or wrong, and only you can make that decision. The Tim Tebow advert is, in my opinion, example of why we should have pro-choice, because when you force someone to have an abortion, that is as counterproductive to the pro-choice cause as it is forcing someone not to have one. And I just felt like saying that. So fuck you, Tim Tebow, and your mum, and the Filipino ladyboy she banged out there, whatever.